Namo Ramanaya. Enna வேண்டும்? Ai-je besoin? Ce dont j'ai besoin et ce dont je n'ai pas besoin. Tout cela, Ramana le sait bien que moi. Il est le père et la mère de tous ceux et celles qui ont besoin de lui. Moi qui suis son fils, ai-je besoin d'aller voir quelqu'un d'autre? Il est juste que je demande et qu'il donne. Y aurait-il des choses bonnes qu'il ne souhaiterait pas? Il donne ce qu'il souhaite. Quelqu'un qui demande pourrait-il être un devotee? Les actes de celui qui connaît tout pourraient-ils être mauvais? Y a-t-il une vie plus heureuse de qui ne désire rien? Y a-t-il plus grande béatitude que la connaissance sans pensée? Nous l'appelons notre Père, qui nous rend sans crainte. Tout ce que d'autres peuvent donner n'est que dérisoire. Il me montrera ce qui est bon à voir. Il maîtrisera mes sens et mon corps. Il me fera la grâce de tenir mon ego en échec. Il me fera danser au son de sa musique divine. Quand, quoi et où ai-je besoin de faire? Il le fera. Dois-je le demander? Serais-je touché par quoi que ce soit, si ce n'est par le bien? Ai-je besoin de quoi que ce soit, ni de qui que ce soit, excepté Ramana? En anglais, traduit du tamoul par KVS, Ramana Maharshi.
Namo Ramana. The divine ordinance and destiny. Although those who do not know consciousness find fault with things that happen in the world, all events that occur do so in accordance with a unique divine ordinance. Elsewhere, Bhagavan has explained how the allocation of destiny or prabhada karma takes place. Bhagavan, a man might have performed many karmas in his previous births. A few of them alone will be chosen for this birth, and he will have to enjoy the fruits in this birth. It is something like a slide show where the projectionist picks a few slides to be exhibited at a performance, the remaining slides being reserved for another performance. Bhagavan, individuals have to suffer their karmas, but Ishvara manages to make the best of their karmas for his purpose. God manipulates the fruits of karma, but he does not add or take away from it. The subconsciousness of man is a warehouse of good and bad karma. Ishvara chooses from this warehouse what he sees will best suit the spiritual evolution of each man, whether pleasant or painful. Thus, there is nothing arbitrary. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Is not everything the work of God? Without desire, resolve, or effort, the sun rises, and in its mere presence, the sunstone emits fire, the lotus blooms, water evaporates, people perform their various functions and then rest. Just as in the presence of the magnet the needle moves, it is by virtue of the mere presence of God that the souls governed by the three cosmic functions, or the fivefold divine activity, perform their actions and then rest, in accordance with their respective karmas. God has no resolve, no karma attaches itself to him. That is like worldly actions not affecting the sun, or like the merits and demerits of the other four elements not affecting all-pervading space. This is from Who Am I?
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. From the book Face to Face with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Swami Tapovanam. Silence is truth. Silence is bliss. Silence is peace. And hence silence is Atman. To live this silence should be the goal. It is moksha. Sri Ramana Maharshi was an embodiment of such a silence. He was the silence itself. I had the good fortune of having darshan of the Maharshi at Tiruvannamalai when he was living in a cave along with his mother and brother, a young brahmachari at that time. I climbed the hill and saw the Maharshi there. The Maharshi looked lovingly into my face. That was all. He spoke, but silence. Not a word passed between us. A supreme, dynamic, and divine silence prevailed. An hour passed by, all in silence. He rose for his meals. I too rose from my seat, bowed again, and walked down the hill. The divine silence sank deeper and deeper into me at each step. Someone came running behind me and pressed me to take some prasadam. I was full with this silence. The Maharshi called him back and advised him not to press me. Then I left the cave and walked away.
The Maharshi was an idol of peace and silence. The ocean's surface dances in waves, laughs in sparkling foam, roars as its thunderous waves clap and clash. And yet, deep in its inner vaults, it rests in eternal silence and peace. Without such a divine and spiritual depth, the work and activities of this universe would become worthless and aimless. Work should be undertaken and pursued to take us ultimately to the workless abode of divine silence and endless peace. This is the secret doctrine of all our Vedas and ancient scriptures.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Be the Bliss, from the book Be the Self, author by Sri V. Ganeshan. Paul Brenton, Arthur Osborne, and other writers on Sri Ramana Maharshi were wonderstruck by the way he confronted and overcame death at the tender age of 16 years. The wonder deepened their study of his teaching, Who Am I?, and dragged them to his presence at Arunachala. The great change in his life was brought about by the death experience. What resulted became the essence of his teachings. The life of a sage and his teachings are thus inseparable. Let me start from a verse of a supplement to 40 verses. உள்ளது 40 அனுபந்தம் 12. இழிவு உடல் யான் எண்ணல் இகந்திடுக என்றும் ஒழிவு இல் இன்பாம் தனையோர்க அழியும் உடல் ஓம்பலோடு தனையோர உணலாறு கடக்க கராப்புனை கொண்டு அற்று. Give up the idea that this loathsome body is the self. Realize the eternally blissful self. To seek to know the self while cherishing the ephemeral body is like mistaking a crocodile for a log and trying to cross the river on it. The first two lines of this verse 12 of supplement to 40 verses contain the essence of his teachings. Give up the idea that this contemptible body is the self. Know and be eternally blissful self. In this book, author B. Ganeshan analyzed this verse by dividing into three parts: the cause, the consequence, and the connection between the two. Let us start the cause. The scriptures say that the attachment to the body is the source and ground of all other attachments. Taking the body to be the self is the sole cause of bondage. Bhagavan has given at various places the many difficulties faced by one who takes the body for the self. The seeker should beware of being swallowed by this Dehatma Buddhi. What happens when one is caught in I am the body idea, Dehatma Buddhi? Bhagavan deals with this in the following passages. From the 5 verses on the self, Bhagavan says, forgetful of the self, mistaking the physical body for it, one goes through innumerable births. From the neglect of 9 gems, Bhagavan says, Dehatma Buddhi is like fall into a deep sea called Jagarmaya and get drowned into universal illusions. Dehatma Buddhi means it wanders aimlessly in various ways from Ashtakam. So, thus we are sufficiently warned not to identify ourselves with the body. What exactly then is the body? Author V. Ganeshan takes Bhagavan's words from different scriptures as follows. The body is inert like a pot. The body is in the form of 5 sheets. If we take ourselves to be the body, we are caught in the net of time and space from the 40 verses. It is therefore clear that Dehatma Buddhi has to be given up. If we give it up, what results? The consequences. It dawns on us that we are eternally the blissful self alone and nothing else. What is this state of blissful being? Bhagavan describes it clearly in many places. For example, from 40 verses, number 7, it is a wholeness, fullness. It is the experiential knowledge of all. The one self, the sole reality alone exists eternally. So, the eternal state of bliss ever shining within each one of us, Sri Bhagavan asserts, is common to all, irrespective of one's spiritual maturity. It is repeatedly stated that this ultimate state of perfection, being common to all, one has only to open up oneself to this ever-existing truth. Dehatma Buddhi and perfect blissful state, though widely different, exist in oneself only, like the two sides of one coin. The yearning seeker steeped in Dehatma Buddhi also longs for the attainment of blissful state, which Bhagavan says exists always. But There seems to be a cleft between these two divergent states of experience. How to bridge it? The connection. Let us begin again at the beginning, the body. Is the problem really with the body? No, says Bhagavan. The body is inert, insentient. Bhagavan says in the verse 24 of 40 verses, the inert body does not say I, neither does being awareness dawn. Between them arises an I with the size of the body. This is called mind. In the state of waking, we are all well aware of the body, but the body does not say I. In the absence of body consciousness, in sleep, no one says I do not exist. It follows then that there is an I which is independent on the body. This knowledge is a breakthrough from the state of ignorance. After knowing intellectually that body is not I, we should try to realize what is this I and where from it emerges. Seeking the rising of I is a serious, joyful quest leading to genuine spiritual experience. Bhagavan says in verse 27 of 40 verses, the state in which the I does not arise is the state of that which is self. Realize this as your experience through keen investigation. Self-enquiry is the sure way to get rid of ego, known as I am the body concept. And self-enquiry leads to establish in the bliss state of self. This is the royal path. Diving deep within and like a hunter tracking silently the quarry, the one who reaches the source. This state where there is no need of thought is the ultimate reality. To the earnest seeker, it is vital to put into abhyasa, practice, honestly, fearlessly, and without slackening what one understands to be the way to the goal. Humble study of Jnani's life stirs from our depth the current of mumukshutva, that is the thirst for spiritual fulfillment. Let us all prostrate at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sri Bhagavan and let us earnestly take to self-enquiry to get rid of this I am body idea. ஞானம் இல்லாது உன் ஆசையால் தளர்வர ஞானம் தெரித்து அருள் அருணாச்சலா. ஓம் நமோ பகவதே ஸ்ரீ ரமணாய.